There you go.
You could put your 10 and put it into a property. With
Yeah, what about the small-time investor?
It's perfect for them because they're getting the safety and the security of being on a first trust deed. You know, the only downside to it is that if all of a sudden the whole house broke down, there'd be extra money that would be needed to call from the investors to fix all the repairs. But the nice part about it is that if we're looking for $100,000 from 10 investors and each one put $10,000 in, well, if it was a $700 repair on the house, they would split $70 between 10 people. So that's the nice part. So, but again, that's tax deductible at the end of the year. They're all going to be able to deduct their prorational share in that write-off along with the taxes. So in other words, if they were getting 1% in the bank and then they had to pay tax on it, they wouldn't get anything. But because they're in this investment, they're able to deduct this off of their tax return.
So you're not just looking for someone with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I take anybody, you know. If one guy wants to put in 100 or one guy wants to put in 10, they're not a security risk either. You're not dealing with anything because you're delivering a person a prorational share of a deed. So they're in a private placement, like a private placement, like a limited partnership, where there's, you know, and each partner has a prorational share, an undivided interest per how they invested in the property.
So then, how do they all agree on if they want to sell the house or don't want to sell the house?
Well, I mean, basically that's a proxy, but basically I would be the general partner, and in the investment there would be the language that we reserve the right to sell the property when it's at a level that would return the investors at least 50%. There's no, but they can go through the general partner and sell their position through the partnership and somebody else buys it. So if, let's say they're in it and they've been in it 2 years and now they want to be out of it. Let's say they've collected $200 a month for, 2 years, and they've collected almost $4,000. Because the house is on rent, so pull in probably $1,200 to $1,500 a month, or somewhere around $1,200. And if you've got 10 partners, okay, so if you got 10 partners after the management fee, let's say it's pulling in $100 a month. So let's say they've pulled in $2,000, 20% of their $10,000. So they've gotten back 20% of their investment in 2 years, and they still have the value of the property, their initial $10,000. So that's a pretty good rate of return. And they're on the deed, so it's not like somebody's, going to pull the wool out or the legs from underneath them.